My childhood in Germany before Hitler was a perfectly normal, middle-class childhood. It changed quite a bit from the beginning.
I was the first child born to Edmund and Friedel Kahn. We had a maid, a beautiful apartment with a beautiful, garden area.
One day in the morning, there was a telephone call from the Gestapo. We are going to be deported tomorrow, go home.
And then came October 22nd, 1940, when the police appeared, the Gestapo appeared, and arrested us. So we were taken to the railroad station. Little did we know that we would be taken to a concentration camp.
And eventually we were put on a train. No idea where we were going.
We knew we were going to France, and there were trucks, and these trucks took us to Gurs, to Camp de Gurs.
So we got into Gurs, wooden barracks, totally bare. The barracks, by the way, had no windows. They had some flaps you could open if you had something to prop it open with. It was horrible. We lived in mud.
Yeah, there was even one woman at the time when it was raining, and she fell in the mud and died because she couldn't get up.
And she pitched forward.
She pitched forward on her face.
And the soil in Gurs was clay, pure clay, and it rained a lot. We had lice and fleas and bed bugs and rats. And one day the Red Cross came to put these caps on us to get rid of the lice, and that was pretty awesome, pretty painful.
The conditions were abominable. I like to say that Gurs was really the antechamber to hell. We had water only 3 times a day. I don't think you can describe the feeling and the atmosphere that gripped us. Lunchtime was a watery soup. It had some root vegetables, sometimes some chickpeas, occasionally a morsel of meat. That was it.
Starvation food.
And the same was actually in the evening,
Yeah.
and sometimes it was only tea. So you had to be very careful with that little bit of bread you had to make it last for 24 hours.
You had some straw on
We
the
were given straw.
floor, which was put on the floor, and that was it.
Many, many people were on the floor.
And one day, actually, a group of nuns came and took us out for a day, and they took us on a hike to the Pyrenees. And this is the first time looking down from the Pyrenees, from the height, onto this vast array of barracks. The first time I really became aware of what a miserable, miserable place I was relegated to. And the fact that, here I was free for a moment, but I was going back to incarceration, imprisonment, barbed wire.
Well, I think the first time I met Max, in spite of the horrible conditions, there was a get-together for young people to make their life a little more interesting. And that's where I met him. And the second time I met him, I heard him play the cello, because there was a cultural life eventually. And I liked the way he interpreted the music. So here we are, 76 years later.
Yeah.
There were social service organizations that could function in Gurs. Their social workers were in camp. And my mother was approached whether she would let me leave the camp to go to Le Chambon. Who knew about Le Chambon? Nobody. And we would be placed in a home run by the Swiss Red Cross. And Did I want to go? Yes, of course. Who wouldn't want to leave this place? We were 7 young people who left together, and we came to Les Chambons. We came to that little house. I had a letter from a relative in Gurs to come and see my mother because she had been very ill. And so I went, and that was August the 6th, 1942. On my way, I had about an hour with my mother. It was how can you describe it, a terrible situation. It was the last time I saw or heard from my mother. On my way back, I went to see Max and told him, if you are not safe here, come where I am.
Yeah.
Instinctively, I knew that he would be, or we would be safe in Les Chambons. And so one night he came.
Yeah, now where do I find her?
So Gurs went on, as I described. Little by little, the camp was emptying out, but very often some of the people were coming back to the camp because France was in such chaos at this point that nobody knew where to go.